Hi there, welcome once again to another Chef Knives to Go quick look product review. I'm Steve Yamashin, and what we have is the Yamashin Owlgami or Blue No. 2 Petty 150mm knife. So this line of knives has a 3-layer construction. On either side of this hard core steel, you've got a soft reactive iron cladding. The center core hard cutting edge steel is Owlgami or Blue Paper No. 2 reactive high carbon steel. Heat treats around 62 Rockwell. The soft iron cladding, again, which is reactive, does have a blacksmith finish known as a Kudauchi or KU finish on it, and then it also has a food-safe lacquer protective coating over the entire blade as well. You've got a sandblasted kind of Kasumi finish here where the grind comes down to the edge, and then there's your core steel kind of peeking out there at the end from the cladding. Let's get our beauty shot on this thing. So weights and dimensions will vary a little bit from knife to knife because of the way they're made. This particular one is about 85 grams or 3 ounces. The edge length is about 154 on this particular sample from the tip all the way to the back of the heel. And the overall length of this knife is just a little over 11 inches. The spine thickness will vary from knife to knife. This particular one is about 3.4 millimeters thick coming out of the handle. I measured it around 3 millimeters, maybe a little less, halfway down the blade. And then you can see it kind of generally thins out in the last couple inches, especially this grind is fairly generous towards the tip, so you can see it thins out pretty nicely towards the tip with the grind of the knife. Height is about 33¼ on this particular sample. The handle is an octagonal ambidextrous, what they call on the site red sandalwood. It looks pretty walnutty, kind of in similar look to that. The ferrule is a multicolored pack-a-wood, kind of a red and green combo that's a stabilized wood product, and it's got a good tight fit and finish on the tang install into the handle, so nicely sealed. You've got a spot for your finger right here if you want to use it for board work. So it's got a little bit of clearance there for you. The handle circumference is about 64 millimeters, around 2.5 inches, where the two materials meet right here. This is where I measure all my handles. The knife, they've got 6 in the series that Mark sent me, and they've all been nice and straight. The grinds look pretty clean. This one's they're fairly stiff, as is this one. It's fairly thin at the tip, and you can see that it's pretty thin at the very, very edge, although it thickens up quickly. I'd say I have an edge that's about 5 out of 10 on my sharpness scale. It's fairly well crafted, but this does have a lacquer coating, so you probably want to clean up these edges out of the box or order the Chef Knives to Go finish sharpening service so you can see just how sharp these things can get. Balance point on this, the handle's pretty light, so that brings the balance point up right in that spot, which is pretty good for this style of blade. It's generally not handle heavy by any means. If you look at the shape of this, it does have what we call kind of a mini Gyuto style shape. It looked quite similar to the 210 if you check out that video, the 210mm Gyuto. So this is the style of this blade, so you can do some board work with it. Here's the edge profile. Again, very similar to the 210, just a cut down, mini version of that. Got a little flat spot towards the heel. A little bit of kind of a low belly and a spear point. So we're not going to get real high on this. I'm actually digging this in about right there. So you can do some low rocking, maybe scallions, that kind of stuff. Definitely push, pull cutting, glide cutting. This will be a good tip draw knife since the tip's pretty low. This will tip draw great through stuff. But it's big enough where you can get some work done, and smaller ingredients are definitely, real small stuff. Doing garlic and shallots and that kind of stuff, but it'll handle a little bit bigger stuff too as well. But just a good all-around utility style knife, kind of a mini Gyuto shape. Let me give you a couple of close-ups here. So the finish on these has been quite consistent. It's a pretty smooth finish. That's enhanced by the coating on it, the lacquer coating, but even when that wears off, it's going to be still pretty smooth. You do have some pressed in embossed kanji with a symbol there. Got enough hand crafted character to this to show up when you handle it. You can see it's definitely got some blacksmith characteristics to it, so it's a neat combination of craftsmanship, a little bit of refinement. They've got a little bit of relief on the corners of the spine. They've done some file work on the choil here, which flows into the neck, and so it's comfortable right out of the box. And About the only thing I would do is sharpen it up and we're ready to rock and roll. So a really neat line of knife. This is another cool model in that line. So this is the Yamashin Aogami R Blue #2 Petty 150mm knife.